Welcome in, Joy Starters. Hope you are having a great Sunday or whatever day it is that you listen to this podcast. We took a couple of week break to work on the retreat. We are a little less than 90 days away and it is coming together so beautifully. Just had another group of people sign up on Friday and just so excited for the people that are going to attend the ball and the people that are going to attend the retreat, and you at home that are supporting us, praying for us. We will put we'll put a link in the notes, even if you can attend. I'm asking every follower of mine to donate $5. So especially if you cannot attend. If you're attending, then you are in effect giving your money and giving your support. But we're asking every single person to give $5 to our nonprofit to help us provide mental health resources. I always promise myself I'm not going to cry. Mental health resources, to give talks, to send people to talks, to give out bracelets, to do all of these things to help people. We have housed people. We have got them therapy. We have given free talks. We have given bracelets. We have given books. We have done all of these things. And so the link is in the show notes and it's under Joy Ball. So the reason why we took a few week break, and we are so excited to be back with you for the month of December. And then once December happens and Christmas happens, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. There's a couple of people on social media, y'all, that I follow that I just think the world of. I love what they're doing. I love what they stand for. And I was bold and just put myself out there and asked them, would you be on the podcast? And they said, yes. So there's a few people that are going to be on with us in January, but in January, we're going to switch gears a little bit and show you what it's like to put one of these things on, an event like this, because it could have been just a retreat or just a ball, but we decided to go big or go home and do both. But before, and we will give you in the next 2 weeks before Christmas, a backstage pass into our speakers. I had a Zoom the other day, a Zoom meeting with all of our speakers so they could get to know one another, find out what the other speakers are speaking on, who they are, all my relationship with them. There were lots of tears. So I wanted to let you know that will be happening next week and the next leading up to Christmas, okay? But this week, I am dressed and out the door, getting ready to go out the door for my son's basketball game. But I could not go without sharing what happened to me this week so that I can be of service to others. On Tuesday, I believe it was, one of those days, I opened up a letter from a bank that was not mine. And it said, congratulations on starting your business bank account. And I was like, what? Huh? I didn't start a bank account. What are you talking about? And then I opened up another letter, and the letter said you applied for a credit card in your foundation's name, Changing the Narrative Foundation. And I was like, what? And so by the time I caught this in the evening, I called first thing the next day, and it feels very violating. I'm going to tell you that. That's why I feel the way I feel. That's why I'm on the verge of tears. But I was talking to the lady in the fraud department, and she said, is this your name? Yes. Is this your birthday? Yes. Is this your address? Yes. Starting to feel more and more violated. Does the last 4 of your social end with this? And that's where the bottom dropped out for me. Somebody, somehow, and I'm going to tell you all the different information I have and the lessons that I've learned along the way this week, because y'all know, if you followed me for any amount of time, anything that I go through, I'm always trying to teach. I'm always trying to teach. Okay. And I've got we're going to go some squirrels, some different directions in the short time that we have together, but because there's some tentacles and there's some lessons to this. Oh, by the way, I'm recording this on my wedding anniversary, on my 4th wedding anniversary. And I'm going to share that in just a little bit. So I when she says that, my heart drops. Okay. My heart drops. And you feel vulnerable. You feel naked. Your very identity, your being somebody can do anything and everything with your social security number. So immediately I followed all the steps, went online, looked at the steps. And I want you to go ahead and do this. Listen to me. If you are not, and I'm going to throw out and put her link in the show notes too, my friend Terry Kauser, Care Credit, you can look her up. We'll put her link there. She is a dear friend of mine, and she's taught me so much about credit, wealth, business credit, all the things. And because of her teachings, I met her at Jeremy Anderson's event, which, by the way, I'll be at his 7-figure conference in Atlanta on the 15th of January, that weekend, speaking, and I would love to see you there. But I met her a couple of years ago and just fell in love with her. And I was vulnerable enough to tell her, hey, I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. And because of her, she had me sign up for a company, and I'm not sponsored by any of these. I'm just trying to help you here, called Credit Check Total. And so, so I signed up for that company, and because of her, I'm very, smart about watching my credit, building my credit. I used to use the terminology, I lost everything at the end of 2020, but I didn't. I didn't lose my life. I didn't lose my faith, but I did lose my house, and I did have to start over. And so that has been an uphill climb. And so she taught me through her coaching. And you can get, what I love about her is she doesn't gatekeep. So she has a ton of videos online on YouTube that teaches you so many things. So here's the tip. Tip number 1, go and freeze all of your accounts today. Like, put the freeze, and you can go to TransUnion, Equifax, the third one, it'll come to me in a minute. And go in there, and you can just go to put TransUnion freeze in Google, and you can freeze it right there. Why am I saying this? Because that way no one can use your Social Security number without your knowledge. It's frozen, right? You have to contact them. You have to take extra steps. The other thing a friend told me to do was get LifeLock. I have heard about LifeLock. Again, not sponsored by any of these people. I'm just trying to help you hopefully not go through what I went through. So a friend of mine recommended LifeLock. Well, too little, too late. Not too late, but I wish I would have known before, but I didn't, and I signed up for LifeLock. I also put in, there's a link where you register with the government that your identity has been stolen. And first of all, my identity is in Christ, so you can't steal it, but my earthly identity was stolen, and it's gutting and it's terrifying. So I did that. And then one of the other suggestions was to file a police report, so I'm in the process of doing that now. And one of the things that the person told me at the bank where this person opened a business account in my name, they told me the fake email that they had used that was supposed to be mine. And then they also told me the email, ding, 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 that their real email that they used, okay? And so I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to say that email has yielded so far some incredible results. And here's the second piece of nugget. First one was go to all of your credit bureaus and just go ahead and freeze them right now. It doesn't cost you a dime. Freeze them until you're ready to do them. Okay. Secondarily, LifeLock. Third, my car's been broken into twice in Georgia. My home has been robbed in Georgia. And I have been, and it's in my book, I was the victim of violent crime. They called it an attempted murder. I was in a pause, trigger warning. I was the victim of violent crime, attempted murder, and I was robbed and pistol whipped and attempted rape when I was in my 20s. And so I have had a lot of experience with being violated in that way. And so somebody said to me one time, and during one of those instances, they said to me, pray for the perpetrator. And I was like, what? No, not doing it. What are you talking about? I'm not doing that. And they said, yes, that's what God calls us to do. So when I found out about this on Wednesday, while I was sick, while I wanted to find out who they were, I wanted to, prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. It's a federal crime. It's, could be fines. It can be jail time. Like, I want to hold them accountable. That's the right thing to do. And here's why I want to hold them accountable. Because I don't want them to do it to a little old woman or a little old lady that can't fight back. I can fight back. I can teach you. I have a platform, and therefore I will teach you. But back to one of these times I was robbed in my life, and somebody said, pray for them. And I said, I'm not praying for them. What are you talking about? That's crazy talk. And they said, pray for them. And I wrestled with that for a while, and I was convicted by it. And finally, I prayed for the person. I prayed for them to love my really soft, I can still see them, pajama pants, and the new camera I had, and all the things, right? And it broke my heart. It broke my heart that I was robbed, but I had peace. And as much as I didn't want to do it, I had peace. And this person said to me, and the Lord calls us to pray goodness over them and let vengeance be his, right? And so I did that. And so I did that years ago, and I did that again on Wednesday. I prayed prosperity, peace. I prayed joy over this person. But in that, I still want to hold them to the letter of the law. And there's a reason why we have law and order in this country. And so I decided to put this out there because I wanted to teach other people. I wanted to gather any information that I could from others. I wanted to help. I wanted to just use my platform for good. The reason why I'm having these other two people on, one is somebody who stands up for men. He has a large platform, and the other one is somebody who talks about domestic violence a lot because his mom was a victim of domestic violence. And both of them have very large followings, and they've learned a lot, and they've taught me a lot, and I always look forward to their content. I also, too, you know this if you listen to any of my stuff, I want to use my platform for good. I'm not an influencer. I don't call myself that. I literally just want to use my platform for good. And so in the process of sharing about this, I've had so many people teach me things. Okay. So one of the things that they taught me is, as I mentioned to you, go to all three of the credit bureaus, shut them down, freeze them. Also, somebody taught me to make sure to put a freeze on your mail if this happens to you. What are you talking about? Because oftentimes if somebody steals your identity, they will then change your address. I had no clue they will change your address. So then the card comes to them. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I had no idea. So that is another thing to do. Please also, this is an old school one, but maybe you don't know. If you're younger or older, listen to me. Please do not go to any site where you have to put in passwords that are sensitive or banking info or social security while you're on somebody else's Wi-Fi. So if you're on the hotel's Wi-Fi, if you're on the plane's Wi-Fi, I don't know how they can do it, but I know they can do it, right? So please don't do that. That is a huge one. You know, the other thing that the officer that I was speaking to today said, I said, how do you, I don't even begin to know how this happened. And he said, it could have been a data breach. It could have been people breaking into medical. And, and I've gotten a number of those emails over the past 6 months, just thinking, you're like, oh, it's not me, or I'm sure nothing happened. And I've got a few of those emails, and it could have been that way. I've always been very nervous I've thought about this a lot. You go to the doctor's office and you write down your social security number on all these papers. And I've always thought it just takes one rogue person, one bad person to write that down and take it home and do something with it. One person who is not good, right? Who is not good. And so somebody did tell me today as well, because I've been learning that you can refuse that. You don't have to write your social down, and you can refuse that at a doctor's office. And I was like, wow, I did not know that. So in going through all of this, I am learning more, and I'm wanting to teach you more so that hopefully you don't go through the same things that I go through. I also learned this person started a business account in my name. I've also learned that you cannot put a freeze on your business credit. You can only monitor it. I believe you can call in and call, I believe, I'm still working through this because this has just happened, and let them know you had recent fraud. But what I would highly suggest is a service, and there are many out there. You can pick yours too. If you have business credit, if you have a business, to monitor your business credit. So anytime you have a trade line added, which is an account in business, you will be notified. So I have Nav Prime. My friend Terry suggested that. Again, not sponsored by them, but that's one. There's Experian Business. You can use that one as well, but they will alert you anytime there is a change. And so one of the things that I am very, very grateful for with this situation is the fact that I caught it early. Now they did this at one bank, and then the same day there was fraud on my business debit card at my real bank. So the officer said that leads them to believe that I was the victim of it. My stuff could be on the dark web. And that is terrifying. That's terrifying. But at least I have put a hold on my social security number. The government knows. I've reached out. I'm filing a police report. And I told the sheriff's department here, whom I happen to train. I'm very, very grateful. I told the deputy there, I know I'm low on the totem pole, and I know this is not, and he said, ma'am, don't think that way. We have this happen every single day to people, and it's happening more and more, and we do take it seriously. And he talked about, and I'm not going to say the state, but he talked about getting the authorities involved in the state in which this person resides, because we know that information. And I've got multiple people looking at it and for it and all the things, because they messed with the wrong person. And I am a person that stands up for others. And so if they've done it to me, they most likely done it to other people or are actively doing it to other people. And I just won't stand for that. So my last 2 points of this podcast are on Thursday. This was all happened on Wednesday, and Thursday was still the fallout. I had a coaching session with the federal company that it's a construction company that works for the federal government, and I'm just still blown away by this, but they help to build naval submarines and all the surrounding things that go along with that. Our national security for eons to come. And I coach these amazing people there. And I was talking to a gal, won't say her name, and we were coaching, and I got choked up. And I said, we were about halfway through the coaching session. Some really big things we were figuring them out, because I'm an overthinker. I have to stop myself. As my friend Damon West says, talk to yourself. Don't just listen to yourself. She also battles anxiety and overthinking. So it was just a lot of breakthroughs. And I told her, I said, I want to tell you something that's happened to me today and yesterday, and I'm in the middle of it. And I want to tell you that I almost didn't come on this call. I almost said, this is really bad, and it's getting worse. And because at this point, I didn't know what was next. If something else was going to come up, if there was another thing, I was just kind of waiting for the hits. And I said, I almost canceled and just pulled the covers up over my head for the afternoon. Now, listen, I am a big proponent, as you know, of doing the best thing that you need for yourself. So are there times where you absolutely need to pull the covers up over yourself and take a break and go and take a moment and take a time out? Absolutely. But for me, I thought about this young woman that I was coaching. I thought about the job that I had been entrusted with, right? So this shirt says, be delusional, okay? And this is a Minnesota shirt, and they always have, and I've been in Minnesota 9 years, okay? And on the back it says, I get to. And that popped in my head, and I've taught on that for a long time. I get to. So when I was almost going to quit, when I was almost going to cancel on her, and that would have been completely fine, I just said, I get to do this. I get to do this. And if I don't do it, y'all ready for this? If I don't do it, if I pull out today, and this is just my experience, take from it what you will. This is a lunch line of my life. Take from it what you will. If I pull out today from this coaching call, they have not only robbed me of my identity, they've robbed me of my purpose in this day that's a gift that will never come again. Boom shakalaka. Like that is... And I just said, you're not going to do it. You're not going to, you, whoever you are out there, you may have done this horrible thing to me and are probably doing it to other people, but you are not going to rob me of my purpose. Because let me remind you, this day will never come again. It'll never come again. This gift of a day, and you will never be the you that you are today. Tomorrow you'll be a different version. Your kids will be a different version. Your husband, your wife, your family, your friends will be a different version tomorrow than they were today. And today is a gift. It's a gift. And when you start thinking about that, man, is it amazing. So in future podcasts, and I'm just going to go ahead and share with you now, and we'll put it in the notes as well. I listen to a lot of NDEs, near-death experiences, and along the lines of I get to be delusional. Be delusional says, why not us? Why not me? Why can't it happen to me? Why not? I get to. And this was a shirt that they had before the season. I'm so honored. I've worked with them for 9 years in a row, y'all. 9 years. And I haven't even talked about what happened with the Jags rookies. I've got so much to share with you about the Jags rookies that just happened. I'm over here just making myself notes. This is off the cuff today. I'm a podcaster off the cuff. But this is really just my heart. But in this NDE, this man, he said, and this is his words, not mine. He said, I was not a good man. I was not a good, kind, decent man. And he died and went to heaven. And I can't remember if he said he was a believer or not, but back on earth, his body was bloated, rotting. He was brain dead. And the people wanted to, the doctors wanted to take him off life support, and his wife kept refusing. And I'm talking about, we're like multiple days in. And then right before they did, they said, let's do a test. And he squeezed and he raised his hand and he did things, and the doctors were like blown away. But when he came back, now I'm just making this stick with me, so I hope it sticks with you too. He said, I was a mean, nasty, not nice person. He said, but when I came back, I was completely different. I was grateful. I was kind. I was courteous. I was thoughtful. I wasn't, he said he used to play golf and try to beat everybody all the time and just wasn't a great person to be around, his own words. But he said, when I got back, and he said he spent time in heaven, and he looked on the face of Jesus. He said, when I got back, I don't stress about anything anymore. He said, because I've looked on the face of Jesus, and I know this world is just temporary. And that got me so good. And I want to carry that in my heart when I start to stress, because this has been very stressful, right? So I said, I get to. You're not going to rob me of this opportunity. And by the end of it, she was in tears and I was in tears, this coaching call. And then it gave me the oomph, right? I get to be delusional. It gave me the oomph that I needed to do another coaching call in the afternoon, finish my day really strong and not let them rob me of my purpose in my day. And so the last part of this podcast is this. I want you to listen. I teach you this all the time. Listen for the ping. Listen for the still small voice of God. Listen for the moment when he says to pivot. And I have had those times. I've told the famous story of Jill and Dave, where I was going to do a course recorded. And then all of a sudden, God told me to do it live. And I was like, Lord, I can't do this live. I'll look like a fool. It's a week beforehand. 50 people have signed up for this thing. And he said, do it live. Do it live. Well, long story short, 2 people met in that course and got married, Jill and Dave, that probably would have met some other way, but I had a hand in it because I was obedient to God. So listen for the pivot. Y'all, today is my anniversary. 4 years married, 8 years with this man. And we were supposed to go away last night down to St. Augustine. And I just had the weirdest feeling about it. I'm like, okay, 1, I've been going through this and this is not over. And this has just really put a damper on things. But 2, our son, his passport was misplaced. And so where he was supposed to ship out to sea with the merchant mariners for 7 to 8 months, he was supposed to leave early this week, late last week, but because he had to get a new passport, he wasn't flying out until this morning. Now, had we stuck with the original plans, my husband and I would be is somewhere else completely, down in St. Augustine when he needed to go to the airport this morning at 5:30. That's 1. 2, our other son is playing his crosstown rival tonight at Yulee, at home versus Yulee. And so all of those 3 things combined, God just started talking to me. And here's another one. You want another nugget? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? What am I supposed to learn here? And so I listened and I listened, and the hotel was supposed to be non-refundable. I called, I begged mercy. They gave us an entire refund, refunded every one of our tours, all of the things, right? And I went and told my husband, I said, I just don't have a good feeling. We'll go again. It will be there. I said, but your son, our son needs you to walk him to the gate, to the check-in tomorrow morning. You need to be the last face he sees before he gets on that ship. And our other son needs to see our smiling faces at this game. Yeah. So my last nugget here is to listen for the ping. Listen for the pivot. I'm so grateful I pivoted because my husband told me I would go. I would do it for you because it's our anniversary and I love you so much and I would do it for you. But he said, it would have torn at me. It would have been hard on me, knowing that I'm an hour and a half away, 2 hours away, and my son is going to the airport by himself. So that's all I got today. This is just straight from the heart. There is a lot here, a lot to unpack. But I hope that you've taken the tips to be safe. I'm hoping you've taken the tips to pivot. I'm hoping, I'm a Hopen. I'm hoping that you've taken the tips to pray for your enemies and those that do you wrong. Pray favor, peace, joy, and mercy on them. But also don't be afraid to lean on the law and let them do what they need to do. And also, this day is a gift. It'll never come again. You'll never be the same you again. You get to be delusional. Start talking to yourself and stop listening to yourself. I love you guys more than there are words. Y'all, the retreat is filling up. The Joy Ball will sell out. Like the capacity of the room, like it will sell out. And like I said, in case you cannot go, please go to the link below, Joy Ball. It's $5 to a nonprofit. Please help us provide these resources for people. I love you guys more than their words. Have the most blessed day or night whenever you're listening to this, and we'll be back. I'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back next Sunday. And for the next 2 Sundays, you are going to see these speakers in action, why I picked them, our relationships, lots of tears, who they are in their own words, what they do, what they're passionate about, and what they're speaking on. Okay, love you guys.